Right, today we've got Tom down from Golf N, which I'm going to let him explain a little bit about in a moment, but we're pretty much going to take a look through most of his bag. We're going to start off with irons mainly, because I feel like that's an area that really needs to be looked at. So, Tom, welcome down, mate. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for the opportunity.
It's a Golf N app. Tell me a little bit about what that is.
Yeah, so we are unlike other apps, we're a play to earn sort of model. Rather than you're paying a membership every year to access these premium features. We'll be able to give you these premium features for free, and also you'll have the chance to earn and spend what you earn and anything golf related, really.
So you say earn, as in, so how can people earn? So it's like a point structure, so they can earn points?
So each round you'll have a base payout, and then you'll be able to equip what we call power-ups. These power-ups will then give you sort of a multiplier on that base payout. And then at the end of each round, there'll be, I think there's even a gamble option if you really wanted it, where you can have the chance at 2 timing your points that you earn that round. So,
so it's kind of like gamifying it a little bit, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So
I guess it makes it a little bit more interesting.
It does indeed, yep.
And you can win. What sort of prizes can you win if you kind of like keep playing? If you use the app, you're obviously going to accumulate points and then redeem prizes. Like what sort of prizes are going to be on offer?
So you can go from anywhere to golf clubs or even entering into a sweepstake. We currently have a sweepstakes that is open right now, and it's a £25,000 giveaway to Ireland to go and play a load of courses in Ireland. And it's really one of a kind. It's so... I'd recommend going entering. I'm sure we can leave a link somewhere in the
I'll pop a link below, because I'll probably be entering as well. So 25 grand to go and play loads of courses over in Ireland.
So you play Portrush the week before it closes to be ready for the Open.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
Amongst other courses,
cool. And the app itself is what sort of like data driven, similar sort of to Arcos in terms of tracking your data, being able to analyze your data.
So like I said, you still got all the premium features that these other apps have. We just don't charge the membership, so you can track every shot. You can track left, right, long, short, middle of the fairway, how far it is. You've got all the wind, and it's literally everything.
Interesting. All right, sounds good. So we'll put some links below to that. And by the way, this is not a sponsored video whatsoever. They haven't sponsored us. This is just Tom works for them, and he's come down for a fitting, and we're filming it. So we'll pop a link below. Go and have a look and enter the giveaway. Right, now to the most important bit. Your clubs, mate. That's old school Taylormade rocket blades, irons.
The old faithful, I call them.
The old faithful. Yes. So a bit about your iron play. Anything you struggle with, would you say?
Not necessarily just irons, but my bad shot is a duck hook left. Puts me in a load of trouble all the time. But I've had these irons now for since I was like an 18, 19 handicapper. Now sitting at 5.8. So they've been with me. They've been through a lot, but we've come out the other side okay. But I think now it's just time for an upgrade.
Time for a change, Like you say, it's they're very, very lightweight. So I'll put the specs up on the screen for the viewers to see. But loft 30 degrees, lie 63. So loft-wise, pretty similar to like a P790, really, sort of like a player's distance. Sort of loft, 63 lie angle, which fraction upright, but it's in and around that standard sort of area. But the one thing that stands out, obviously, is very lightweight, 65 gram graphite shafts. They're stiff, but I mean, at that weight, they're not going to be stiff. And I said to you straight away, Alpha, I'd do it your 7.9, and you said like 185. It's like, oh, so you got some distance, you got some power. So it's going to be interesting for me, especially because you've probably watched some of our stuff. I'm not necessarily one of these fitters that likes to talk rubbish, So it'd be interesting for me to see how that setup with that shaft compares to something maybe more what you should be in.
No, I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see all the numbers. I'd probably say as I've got better, I've sort of not neglected this side. I've just sort of drilled in on how I can get better, not paying attention to the numbers. But now I feel like I've got to a point where let's bring the numbers in. Let's see let's see what they are. Let's see how we can sort of improve and get even lower if possible.
Absolutely, mate. It's always possible. Right, okay, so we'll benchmark this. This is your 7 iron, so let's hit a few with this, mate, and get some numbers.
No problem.
Sounded hit.
It felt hit.
That pin's at 190, so that was like a 188 pitch.
Have we got wind with?
Wind with, absolutely, mate. Yeah. Well, it's like when you're hitting some warm-ups, you've got speed straight off the bat. Swing speed, 95, 96 mile an hour. Ball speed on that one, 129. I mean, yeah, that's plenty of speed, mate. Plenty of speed.
What sort of the I won't say PGA, but sort of just average ball speed and club speed for a 7-iron?
126, 127 is average PGA Tour for a 7-iron. So yeah,
Right.
you're quicker than average PGA Tour.
I might be quicker, but I'm not as accurate. I know that.
Not, not as accurate. I mean, do you know much about those numbers? Have you been on sort of quad TrackMan before?
This is like one of the main reasons I thought let's come down, let's actually have a look, because
Yeah.
all this is just mumble jumble to me. Like I do want to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Yeah. Okay. So I mean,
bit out of my comfort zone.
quick little rundown of that screen, just so you know exactly what you're looking at. Like we said, a lot of the stuff along the top line is pretty self-explanatory. You've got your ball speed, a mile an hour. You've got your swing speed, effectively a mile an hour. You've got your carry distance. You've got your total distance. You've got your offline. Efficiency is just a division of ball speed and club speed. And obviously it's different for every club. So obviously driver, we'd want to see 1.45, but for 7-iron, that 1.35 number is pretty much bang on. So I'd look at that and go, great strike, good efficiency for a 7-iron. It's kind of where we want to be seeing that. Obviously everyone kind of really reasonably understands path, you know, slightly from the inside there, which is great, and face slightly closed, which is brilliant for a little draw. So I mean, that's a pretty straight ball flight there. We can see it starting 0.8 right of target line, had 9 revs of left spin on it. So like the tiniest draw you'll ever hit in your life. Down the bottom here, we've got your angle of attack, which on that specific shot was 2 degrees down, which I'd say maybe is a little shallow for some of your speed. I mean, you mentioned that you hit it quite high. A lot of your height really is going to be coming from speed. Yeah. Obviously, the more the ball keeps going up, the more speed you got, it just keeps on going, right?
Yeah.
But that would probably be an area where if you could get a little bit more down, that would help just bring that launch down a touch and bring the ball flight down a touch. But you are de-lofting quite a lot. So that's slightly unusual, to be fair, where you're de-lofting that, I mean, what did we say, 30 degrees? So almost 7 degrees, 6-7 degrees of de-lofting the iron at impact, but only hitting 2 down, which is actually quite uncommon. Normally we see if someone hits down a lot, they'll take off a lot of loft, and if someone's a bit scoopy and shallow, they kind of don't take off a lot of loft. You're kind of like weirdly in between there. But taking off loft is a good thing. And then this shot launched at 18.2 degrees and the backspin at 5.2. So a little bit on the low spin side for your speed, really, but you hit that 118 feet in the air and the descent angle was 49. And that from this distance, from anywhere a long way out of the green, your stopping power is going to be predominantly powered by angle of descent. Yeah. So the angle of descent there at 49, that's still going to land and stop very, very, very quickly. So my only concern with a player like yourself, who said your miss is a little bit left, is if a decent shot with a 7-iron is spinning at 5.2, if we then start to get down into 6, 5, 4, and that spin comes down, 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 the lower the spin becomes, the more exaggerated the curvature becomes, effectively. So the more that if you do turn it over, which is obviously that drops the spin, and you're already low spin, it just goes a long way and a long way left. So that control element just drops. Your miss becomes exaggerated. Yeah. So I'd be saying trying to get a little bit more spin probably wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
So you just saying that now, I don't really like to go past my 5-iron.
Okay.
I've always hit a 4 and a 3 because obviously the bad shots are a lot worse with them clubs and a lot more sort of, you know, prominent. Like they'll happen more often. So I don't tend to touch them. Yeah. If I can help it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are the same. They're just a lot harder clubs to hit anyway. I mean, you're 5 handicaps, so you're a pretty decent player. They're very, very difficult clubs to hit. And even I found recently from dabbling with like hybrids and stuff, whereas I'd hit my 4-iron and the spin would kind of be like in the 3,000 somewhere. As soon as you don't quite get that right, the ball flight is quite aggressive. Like low spin is an aggressive ball flight, and that curvature just gets exaggerated, and the miss really does become far more prominent. Whereas I've now gone into hybrids, and as soon as that spins a lot more, the ball flight's way more balanced. Way more balanced.
Interesting.
That'd be something that we can probably look at today. And then the other thing really to note, you can see bottom right there, sort of gives you where the strike point is, which on GC quad is about there. So it's about 8 to 10 mil low is perfect. I know it looks a bit low, but that's just because where we've got the dots situated on the face. But 3rd to 4th groove, which is around there, and obviously central. But your dynamic lies quite toed down, which we see a lot. A lot of amateurs are kind of a bit handle raisy, a bit sort of early extendy, a bit standy up here, which obviously gets that toe down. But when we do that, typically we don't keep rotating, and when we stand up, we can get that turning over. So I do see a lot of toe down linked with a left miss.
Okay.
Right, but also those shafts are very, very soft, and someone of your power, we're gonna get droop. Right, we're not only going to get lead deflection, but you're going to get a lot of droop. So that toe is going to droop down where the shaft is deflecting a lot. So hopefully getting something a little bit more stable in there could help that a little bit as well. So let's just get a couple more, and then we'll get give us a good average, and we'll get testing, mate. Didn't sound too bad, mate.
Yeah, just pulling left a little.
Yeah, pitch left edge. I mean, you wouldn't be upset with that.
Yep.
Oh, it sounded absolutely ripped.
Just turning it over slightly.
Yeah. Yes, and that will be an interesting thing to see from this fit again, right? Because the theory would suggest that potentially if you have something a bit heavier, a bit stiffer, it's going to be harder to turn over.
Yeah.
Is it? We'll see.
Yeah.
How is that? Because I'm someone, again, if you watch some of my content and all, obviously a lot of these guys have, I personally am a big advocate of a little bit lighter, a little bit softer. Obviously not to the extreme end, but I do feel that there's a lot of people in golf fitting that like to just go, you need heavy, you need stiff because of swing speed. I don't necessarily know that actually benefits a lot of people, and certainly know it doesn't for me.
Yeah.
I do think strength comes into it a lot. I mean, you look a bit bigger than me, probably a bit stronger, right? I'm not the biggest, strongest guy, although I swing quite quick. So for me, heavy is just hard work. I'd rather play that 65 gram graphite than I would 130 gram X stiff steel, right? But it's just interesting in practice to see you turn it over, you shouldn't be playing those shafts. What actually happens when we put you in a shaft that theoretically should be better? It'd be interesting to see.
It's like you just said, I've been for fittings before at sort of retailers, and I just felt like they were just trying to throw, like you said, heavier, stiffer shafts, and just didn't like how it all was. So I just thought, you know what, let's come and get it done properly.
Yeah.
All the numbers as well. And,
Well, I think it's testing, and we want to make sure that the feel is as good as possible. It don't really matter too much what it is. You know, it's got to feel good to you. It's got to feel comfortable. And then the numbers have got to match up. And that's only really tested. And I think a lot of places where they don't have the range that we do, they're just going to pigeonhole you a bit because it makes their life easier, right?
Of course it does.
Go, you swing X speed, you need this. Done.
Yeah.
They don't want to test. They don't want to piss around for ages testing stuff. They want to give you stuff, sell you some clubs and get you out the door.
Exactly.
Right? Which, that's what they do, right? Yeah, I mean, that sounded nice, mate.
I think that might have gone the other way.
It's tiny little fade, if anything, wasn't it? Again, you've hit a couple. You've like pulled slightly, but I mean, the majority of those are still hitting green.
Yeah.
You know, so you're not. Yeah, I mean, the biggest left is 16.5 left. We're averaging 188, averaging 115 feet. Descent angle of almost 49. So yes, you're hitting it high. It will still land soft. Averaging 129 ball speed, 18 launch. Just over like 5.1 backspin. So probably only like the backspin being a little bit on the low front is probably the only thing that really stands out, because you're going to hit everything high. Yeah. If anything, potentially too high. And this is the thing, you know, it's a 30-degree 7-iron. So the hard thing with people that have got speed and are not that steep like yourself, so you don't generate a load of spin, but I'd like you to have a little bit more spin, you need loft. Yeah. You know, people talk about shafts and whatnot, it doesn't change spin. It's head, it's loft. Yeah. So we need something with more loft. But if I went and gave you something like uber traditionally lofted, that launch is just going to come up to probably like not far off 20, and all of a sudden like the ball's just going to the moon, right? Yeah. So there needs to be a middle ground. So the reality is you're probably going to be living in that category right in between that and a traditional iron. Okay. In terms of probably 32, 33 degrees. So you're at T150, like your Mizuno 243, your P770, Apex Pro, something in that range, I would say. So it looks a lot thinner.
Yeah, thinner at the top.
Yeah, they're quite compact, the Titleist. That's T150. So you're moving into 32-degree 7-iron, middle of the run. And I thought we'd go extreme to start off with in terms of shaft. Okay. So you got KBS Tour 130X. So it's a big boy, very heavy, very stiff.
I think I just said it off camera, but it does feel a lot heavier, especially down towards the club head.
Yeah, I mean, just everything about that is going to feel just, so much heavier. And again, you might not like it, right? It might just, and this is the thing, this is the theory about what you should play. But I mean, that's such a dramatic difference that like you might just struggle with it for a while potentially. There could, again, be a nice middle ground that's still stable enough, still heavy enough, it doesn't feel massively uncomfortable for you. But we'll see. Sounded good.
That felt like it just sort of just exploded, like really good, like positive, but like almost like a trampoline. It felt like it just
interesting.
Bounced off.
Yeah, not a bad strike. Came up the face a fraction, but I don't mind that. I have also put that 2 degrees upright, which we'll be keeping an eye on. Yeah, I mean, the shaft will be making a difference to that anyway, but the angle of that will be 65 versus yours at 63. So the shaft will be making a dramatic difference in terms of it will be drooping a lot less. And then it's obviously 2 degrees upright. The tough thing with someone who's very toe down and misses left is that I think one of the biggest mistakes a lot of fitting places can make sometimes is they'll just give them something that's very, very upright because they deliver that toe down. But lie angle tilts loft. So if we're like that, but we're missing left, and then all of a sudden I give you something very upright and we orient that face more to the left from where it already was, potentially we're just going to bring in that left side more and more and more. So we need to be cautious of that. Again, it needs to be a nice middle ground. We want to get it obviously as close to flush as possible without us bringing in more of a miss, effectively.
Yep.
Yeah, it sounded really good.
It feels really nice. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Which again, we need to be cautious of.
Almost subconsciously, because it's heavier, I don't want to swing as fast.
Which I think is probably shown in the data straight away. Slightly slower swing speed, not loads. And we averaged 94.4 with yours, and those first 2 swings were averaging 92.5. So yeah, it's coming out a little bit slower, which I would definitely expect. I mean, that's a dramatic difference in. I mean, you couldn't really get much more dramatic. 65 gram graphite to 130 gram steel. It's a big change. Again, the strike sounding lovely, mate. It's just turning over a bit too much. And that's not really the miss we want to go towards almost ever, because long left, especially with some of your speed and distance power, it's not the one at all, is it? And that will also obviously be close to face. That reduces loft, that reduces spin, that increases the miss, all of those things. So yeah, not loving the strike, but not loving the direction of that so far. It's better, mate. It's a good shot there.
Well, every single one of these shots have felt really, really good off the face.
Yeah.
Like, obviously you go off feel, and if they feel really nice, and even the weight doesn't feel too much.
No?
No.
I mean, again, that's an interesting factor. You know, again, we test to see what we can strike the most consistently, what the numbers say, but also you have to feel comfortable with what you're swinging. You don't feel like that feels too much.
I think obviously just before I had a swing with it, just the initial comparison between that and this just felt a lot heavier, but actually swinging the club, it feels quite nice.
Okay, cool. Even from a spin perspective, right? I mean, we've gone into the T150, which to be honest is not the highest spin head out there anyway. I think there's going to be irons that probably will be a little bit better than that for you, because we can see, I mean, from those 4 shots, we're averaging 5.1 backspin. So that's less than yours. Okay, we did turn a couple of them over, and we know when we draw it more, that creates lower backspin. But instantly I'm seeing we're turning it over a bit more. The spin's coming down a little bit. So I don't really love any of those, to be honest. I mean, you look at that and it's almost the same as your iron, apart from the fact that we were obviously getting a little bit more ball speed from your iron based on the fact that you were able to swing it a little bit faster. But the launch is only 0.4 different. The backspin's no different. The carry's basically no different. The peak height is no different. The descent angle is no different. You'd almost look at that and go, well, that could quite easily be exactly the same iron you were hitting there. Right, which is, interesting and probably not what a lot of people would maybe expect to see. Don't know if that surprises you or not, but
I mean, them clubs, like I said, I've had them for years, and I've tried new clubs before now, and I've always gone back to them. So I'm hoping I don't have to today. I'm hoping I'll find something that.
Yeah, we will, mate. We
improves. That turned over that one.
Yeah, definitely. Just got to go left. Let me just make a little tweak to that, mate. But I know we had that 2 upright, so I'm just going to whack it to 2 flat just to see straight away how much that works. But I think more than likely I'd probably be saying to leave it standard. So we can get a bit of a stiffer shaft, so it won't droop as much. The toe shouldn't be significantly down as it was with yours. But I don't like the idea of trying to make it more upright, because I think that's going to bring in more of that left.
Right.
Yeah, that's really nice, that, mate. Yeah, lovely. Yes, I mean, you can instantly see that toe getting more down because I've gone too flat. So now we've gone from 65 lie angle to 61 lie angle, which is a big difference. So the toe will get back to being more down. Still not as extreme as yours, even though it's 2 degrees flat. But for me, yes, we do have to worry about contact, but ultimately where the ball goes is how we play golf.
Yeah.
And if the lie angle, the dynamic lie angle is a little bit subpar, but it goes straighter,
I'd say that.
you take, yeah, absolutely.
So I would have thought that would have turned over a bit more with how it felt, but it's actually done quite well.
Yeah, that's not catching left edge again is fine. Yeah, I definitely think that lie angle is helping a bit. That sounded not too bad, mate.
The better one.
Yeah. I just think these are going to be a bit too low spin. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I just think these are going to be a bit too low spin, to be honest. I mean, the lie angle test was a good little one while you had that club going 2 up to 2 flat. You can definitely see it's still left, but it's less left.
Yeah.
You know, we averaged 15 yards left with the 2 upright. We're averaging 7 yards left with that. So definitely better, but still very, very similar numbers. I mean, you're obviously quite a consistent golfer. You hit one where you didn't quite catch it in that set where the ball speed dropped right down. I think that was a bit fat. But I mean, you take that one out and we're virtually at very, very similar sort of numbers. It's spinning around 5,000. It's carrying mid to high 180s. It's just too low spin. So for me, we need to find a head that's going to get that spin up a little bit more, mate. So you said that looks nice.
Looks nice, and it feels a little lighter.
Yes.
Yeah.
So going into a Modus 120X. So definitely lighter, softer profile. I quite like the Modus. They're not the stiffest of stiff shafts out there, especially in the 120 range, where reasonably firm tip, but not overly stout in the midsection. So definitely got a bit more sort of feel. So I don't hate that one, to be honest, at all. I'd rather see that one. It's still a 180 carry, just holding down the right side. That's just a much safer shot.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to be upset with that, mate. Say 13 yards offline right, it's never killing you. 180 carry, so reasonable efficiency, 53 spin. Just the initial reaction to the weight feeling a bit lighter. In your head, do you straight away go, that feels a bit better, or?
I'd probably say better, yeah. I prefer, even though I liked the weight of that one, I think I prefer the weight of this.
Yeah.
It's not as heavy, but it's still heavy. You know, you can sort of feel it, especially down towards the club face.
Yeah.
Because it still feels light up here, just
a bit more down there. Yeah. And little pulley. I'd be interested to see what that one was spinning at. The ball flight didn't look as bad as with the Titleist. Okay, yeah, 51. Still a touch on the low side, but I mean, it's not done awful. 15 yards left for the fact that you obviously closed the face far too much. So really, I mean, call it a bit of the curse of the neutral golfer, right? Because your path is fairly neutral. Your face needs to be pretty bang on.
Yeah.
Because if you've got a neutral path, like the face is slightly closed, it just goes left. Face is slightly open, it just goes right. So you've got to be very good at managing that face. As soon as you get it a bit too closed, 15 yards left, you're missing green, but you're probably unlucky if that is dead.
Yeah.
You know? Don't mind that, mate.
Might be the best one yet.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see that being a little lower spin. I just feel sometimes, 4.9. Even though that strike looks perfect, I mean, on the camera, they won't be able to hear this, but there was just like,
touch.
It wasn't fat,
Yeah.
but there was it was almost like mat and ball at the same time. And even that makes a dramatic difference to spin. I mean, you'll probably see when we catch one really clean. I mean, that was 49. If you catch one really clean, it wouldn't surprise me to see this go up to 55, 56, which is more where we would probably want to be living, really.
That was just tugged.
Yeah. It was cleaner though.
Yeah.
It was cleaner.
That was me. That wasn't the club.
So theoretically, that should be lower spin, right, as a pull, but that spin's higher because again, so strikes come down the face slightly. So you caught that a little bit clean, which adds a little bit of spin. So even though that should be a lower spin shot, actually span a couple hundred revs more. So we prefer the weight, we prefer the head.
Yeah.
Again, lie angle's doing all right, in all honesty. Again, having still a bit of a stiffer shaft. It's still a bit toe down, but we're in the realms of 4 degrees. That's not, it's not a lot. It's not dramatic to the point of you're really going to be struggling with like massive kind of like toe down contact or anything on the course. It's not too bad. I certainly, based on what we saw with Titleist and based on your miss, I certainly wouldn't be wanting to go more upright than that. 'Cause again, if I gave you a 4 degree upright iron to try and get that flush, like it would, everything would be long left. And that's not what we want at all. So I think I would be saying leave it standard and work on getting your hands dynamically a little bit lower through impact.
It's pulled again.
You said heavy.
Pardon? No, it was just pulled.
Pulley.
Yeah.
Again, it's not terrible. Catching left edge of green. You're very consistent. That phaser was just a fraction too close. Don't hate the strike pattern on this, to be fair. It's pretty good.
Well, I do, obviously, if you've got a pin straight down, I will try and aim sort of right side of the green just because I know it's going to come back. But that's when if I leave one open, I tend to go dead. So,
but it's not a bad tendency to have, in all honesty, because if you, let's say 80% of the time you're going to hit a draw, well, that's 80% of the time it's going to end up left of where you aim. You know that.
Yeah.
Like where so many golfers just aim straight and it could go. At least that's a good thing to have. Like it's not bad at all.
And I'm aiming straight today, just for the purpose of.
I mean, I can aim you right edge, to be fair, in terms of if we literally just point that start direction, flags there. If we point you right edge, which is potentially where you would aim on course anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So it means you can just aim straight down the mat still.
I'll end up blocking one out now.
Yeah, perfect. There we go. See? Go in the hole. Beautiful. See, even this, I mean, it's bonkers, right? When you go from a 30-degree 7-iron to a 32-degree 7-iron to a 33-degree 7-iron, and obviously contact and face angle has a huge difference on that there, right? I mean, you got a tiny bit more inside there and the face was a little bit more closed again. I mean, we're offsetting that with start direction now in terms of where I'm aiming you. But if we look at that spin rate, we're at 51 on average still.
Yeah.
So it's like with yours, we averaged 52. Yours is the highest spin iron so far, right? 52, 51, 5,000, 51. 185 carry with yours, 184 with the Titleist, 187 with the Titleist, 184 with this. So you quickly get to a point of you look purely at numbers and data and you go, well, they're the same.
Yeah.
That sounded like one of the best contacts so far.
Yeah, felt it.
I mean, that's just absolutely gone miles. It is low spin. I mean, you just are a very low spin player. And I mean, we're using a Pro V1X there. I don't know what ball you normally play, but that's Pro VX. That's a little bit spinnier than the Pro V. And to be fair, it does spin a little bit more outside than it does on this mat. So generally around 500 revs, I would say. So I mean, that's averaging 5,000. It's probably going to be 5.5 outside, which isn't awful. It's still lower than I would want, but it's not awful. Yeah. It's just like you're just a low spin player, mate. Like being a bit shallow, a bit from the inside, playing a little bit of that drawy shot. Yeah, it's all low spin attributes. Sounds lovely.
Felt a lot lighter.
Felt a bit lighter?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, KBS is a little bit more counterbalanced in fairness. Yeah, I mean, that's instantly better spin. I mean, for that shot, which is still aiming a little bit down the right side and kind of drawing it off that line, which is exactly what you said you would do on course. So still 182 carry, still really good efficiency at 136. But for that shot, which is a bit of a drawy shot, 57 spin. That's definitely a lot better.
That's a complete miss hit.
Complete miss hit. Again, I mean, short left is better than long left.
Correct.
Yeah, it's well out in the toe, drops off to 171. I mean, that miss hit probably did you a big favour there. The face 7 degrees closed. If you hit that out of the middle, that's going a long way left. And carrying probably 190, 195. That would be dead.
Floorable.
Yeah, I like the direction, but at least for 2 out of 3 with this, we're struggling a little bit with the contact, aren't we?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit to do with the weight, maybe. Maybe it feels a touch too light now.
Possibly. It does feel a lot lighter.
Well, we're saying that, that's complete BS. Yeah. Let's be fair, because your club's ridiculously light and
you
hit that fine. So there you go. Some more fit absolute nonsense coming out of my mouth now as well. Yeah, just like it's just a bit all over the shop straight away, isn't it? Interesting.
The first shot felt great.
Yeah.
The other three,
not good at all.
no.
Yeah, just strikes all over the shop. Yeah, not what we want to see at all. But yeah, I mean, we're averaging 5.8, but the carries dropped down a lot because strike has just been very, very sporadic straight away with that. So I think I'm just going to change the shaft quickly, mate. And I don't hate that shot. Little clean, hung out down the right, but again, little skinny, spin comes up, 6,000. Yeah, so it's not a bad result. I mean, just straight off the bat with this, even, I mean, we'll obviously hit a few more in this shaft, but I think head matters so much.
Yeah.
People think that heads don't really matter. I think they're one of the most important elements. Obviously, they are from a launch and spin perspective. The head and the loft of the head is pretty much where all the numbers come from. But just how someone gets on with a head, it's almost like that click from a strike perspective. The 770 was infinitely better than that straight away. So maybe we can play around with weakening off that loft to get the spin up a little bit.
Felt good.
Yeah, that is a very nice shot. You know, the only reason why I wanted to try a different shaft in this is because instantly we're getting slightly better numbers, better spin numbers. Again, 5,800, definitely more in the realm of where we want to be living. Decent efficiency still. That carry around sort of 180, low 180s, which for swinging around 95 mile an hour is probably where we should be living. So it's kind of ticking all the boxes from a purely numbers perspective, which is good. But we still need to be seeing consistency and, you know. Yeah, that sounded much better.
Was clean.
That was really good, mate. Nice. Sort of consistency. There's two shots that pretty much just landed on top of each other.
And then I'd three putt that.
Yeah. Nice 3-putt from 6 feet and move on. Yeah, again, better numbers. 18 launch, 59 spin. Striking it better. Still not overly as consistent as potentially 770 earlier, but still better. Definitely better in this shaft and the C-taper light. A lot better. And yeah, again, that shot there ticks all the boxes for me, really. Had a 1 hang down the right, 2 on the green, 1 a little bit left, but not a disaster. But yeah, I mean, from a carry perspective, definitely love that a lot more straight away. So again, we're getting better numbers. We're getting 18 launch, 5,800 backspin, peak height. Again, a little on the high side still, but we know that you are going to be hitting it a little bit too high, peaking it probably a fraction too high, a bit higher than I would like. But I think that's a worthy trade-off, just to have a bit more spin to stabilize the ball flight a little bit.
Yep.
But the carry there, 181, 180, 182, 183. So an average of 181 carry with a 1 yard standard deviation. That's pretty damn good, that, mate. How are you feeling with that head-wise, looks-wise, feel-wise?
I think ever since this shaft went in, I prefer this now than obviously the last shaft. But no, it feels good. And the last two that I've hit, obviously, quite close, have felt really, really nice once they've come off the face. And almost instantly, I knew it was good. Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I don't mind that at all.
No, it felt nice again.
It's certainly curving less right to left. I mean, you know, if we go back to the initial when we hit the Titleist earlier, straight away it was curving, curving. Even when I went a bit flat, curving, like it just wanted to go left. Whereas this is really, I mean, those are all, there's only 1 that we pulled slightly. There's 3 on the green. I mean, well, I think probably all of those are on the green, to be honest. I mean, probably those 2 are right side and 1 straight, 2 on the left side.
Yep.
It's just got way, way less side spin on it. So that's definitely an option, mate.
Yeah.
We're going to jump into Apex CB. Apex CB, again, pretty traditional 34-degree 7.9. Again, switching up the shaft to see how this feels. We're back to slightly heavier, so it's Dynamic Gold X100. Yeah, pretty much the most played shaft on tour. So yeah, we'll get you in this, mate, and you'll be on tour in no time.
Felt this one might feel a little bit too heavy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know if that's just I might be getting a bit tired, but especially at the sort of hosel, Feels...
Okay, interesting. Yeah, okay. But it's interesting straight away. And it could just be a bad swing, you know.
Yeah.
We all do it.
Bit toey, but it's gone straight.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest drop off so far. And that sounded not clean, like a bit heavy, a bit toey, bit everything. Yeah, high toe, bit fat. Okay. Hope you're not getting tired. Yeah, we've got about another 3 hours of this, yeah. That's the thing with full bags, though, in all fairness.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say, if you're thinking about going for full bag fitting, don't.
Yeah.
No, it's just like 3 hours of continual hitting. So our full bags are 3.5 hours. And to be honest, even that is probably a bit hard time-wise, like time-scale-wise. Because people come to us because they want to try loads of different brands, they want to try loads of different shafts. So that means lots of hitting, lots of testing. As soon as you hit, we go for an iron fit-in and we've tried, I don't know, 5, 6 different 7 irons and some different shafts, and you've hit 70, 80, 90 shots. And we've got to do the same with driving. Yeah. And then you've got to really be looking at hybrids, fairway woods, wedge. I mean, to do all that in 3.5 hours is quite tough, but you really, if you did it in 5 hours, it's way too long for anyone to concentrate for. So you're trying to cram it down into 3.5 hours with loads of hits. It's just too much. It's too much. Sounded nice, but I'm instantly... Actually, saying that, I was saying instantly not liking the left, but I'm just going to aim you back to the slightly right of the green because I forgot that the aim line moved slightly. I mean, contact sounded better. So again, spins in a better window, especially for that shot, a little bit of a drawy shot. Still spinning very, very similar to the 923 Tour, which is great. Again, on this, maybe it is going back up to that slightly heavier shaft. We're back into a 130. So maybe we're kind of dialing the weight in, because I do think the weight is very important in terms of shaft weight. People talk about flex and profile. I think weight is the most important thing. 130, maybe it is just a touch heavy. Maybe we need to be living in that sort of 120 to 125 range for you. Yeah, contact's just, it's no good at all, is it? Straight away. Okay. What's your reaction to that head compared to the Mizuno? I know it's maybe hard because you didn't hit any good shots there, but just in general, is it worth wasting swings trying a different shaft in that head? Do you like it a lot, or did you prefer others?
It looks nice, but I preferred the Taylormade and the Mizuno.
Okay, all right, we'll leave it.
Nearly a duck hook.
Yeah, I think that would be, again, one of my slight concerns about going shorter.
Yeah.
I think that shot, it would just be easier to hit. Yeah, it moved out into the toe as well, which I don't love. Right, that one. Good one. Go. I don't hate the launch and spin, because that's in a similar window, but half dropping a little bit more inside and a strike move a bit out to the toe.
Touch thin.
Great result.
It is.
Great result. The speeds come up.
Yeah.
I just don't like that path dropping massively from the inside, and we're still quite shallow at 2 down. I'm not really seeing it being a benefit. And I think that's the one thing from a fitting perspective, whenever we're looking at anything, regardless of what it is, whether you're making a change, it's like, is it going to see a tangible benefit from doing that or not? And if it's a no or not sure, then it's probably not worth doing. But it has to be a benefit. Again, head-wise, what do you think about that in terms of looks and feel compared to the Mizuno Taylormade?
I mean, I don't think I caught one well, but they've all done quite well.
Yeah. I mean, I play T100s, and I do think that they're really good irons. I mean, we'll test it out with a different shaft, back to a bit more standard. Again, there you can see that pattern straight away being like more drawy, more left, which we did see with the T150. And I did mention to you that typically for certain players, sometimes I will see the Titleist irons be a little bit easier to turn over. Which again, we are seeing. Could be a little bit linked to that shaft being a bit shorter and a bit lighter. That would generally make something a little bit easier to turn over. So, I mean, again, if you like the head and we feel like it's doing okay, we'll test it with, I think let's whack the Project X65 in X. When I put that in the Mizuno early, it did that really well. So yeah, T100 back into the Project X65 standard length. Let's see if this is a little bit less left bias.
It was a bit flory, that.
Yeah, I don't hate the direction, but contact wasn't quite there, was it? Nope. Yeah, still a little toe. That sounded nice.
It certainly felt nice.
Sounded a little toey again though. Don't know if it felt toey.
I'd say right side of centre. I don't think I'd say toe. It might be.
Yeah, toey.
Yeah. It didn't feel like that. But...
Don't ask me how I can hear it, but and that again is pattern with the Titleist, wasn't it? A second ago with the short shaft, same moving into this now because it wasn't like that with the Mizuno head.
Yeah.
You know, and people say shaft influence strike, they can, but again, heads can a lot as well. CG design of a head definitely matters a lot. Again, don't hate the numbers, but it's not loving the contact.
Turned that over, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't think that Titleist is going to be the brand for you, mate, to be honest.
I think I said before that I'm not really too fussed on the brand, just whatever I hit the best. And
yeah. I think it's just living in the toe. It's easier to turn over. We saw it with T150. We've seen it with this. I think, yeah, Titleist is probably a no from me, I reckon, unfortunately, mate.
That's fine.
Does that look quite nice now, Motherball?
Yeah, it looks a little thin on top, but they all have.
Yeah, so, not a big head, that blueprint, eh?
No.
But lovely feel. Again, 33 degree. So reasonably traditionally lofted. It generally does a good job with spin, this head. So it's a good one to try. Yeah, I don't mind that, mate. We'll take that every day of the week. Fractionally lower spin, but it's not awful. 54, it's kind of on the edge. Wouldn't want it much lower, but that's not bad. Again, good efficiency, 180 carry. Good strike, straight away back more central, which is great. Oh, that sounded good, mate.
The mic flew.
Mic flew off your pocket, but still, don't mind the result.
It's done okay.
Yeah, nice.
Stage straight again.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it just wants to hold its line like that, absolutely fine, mate. That's one thing that I kind of thought with this head. Again, I don't know why, but at times it can just seem like less left biased than like the Titleist, for example. For no apparent reason. Again, much better strike, mate. Spin up at 6,000 for a straight shot, which is good. Good efficiency, 178 carry, 126 ball speed. Everything's sitting in quite a nice window. Again, not flushed. I mean, again, you know, in the summer that'll bound down there, and it's a very good result. It's not your best shot that you've hit, but
no,
a little bit high in that toe.
But I would say, if I would have done that with the Callaway, that felt like it would have gone over there.
And probably the Titleist as well. Yeah. Yeah, so still a great result, isn't it?
It is.
It sounded clean, mate. Lovely shot.
Touch out the heel, I think, but...
Yeah, it can probably not quite strike in this as central or as consistently as potentially some of the other combos. You know, Mizuno from memory, I think, was a bit more central and a bit more consistent. But, I mean, the results are very good, aren't they? Especially for slight mishits. I mean, you look at the dispersion there. I mean, we are aiming a little bit on the right-hand side of the green. So really those four are all pretty much where we want to be seeing it, really, for you. And 177 average carry, 3-yard front to back standard deviation, 18 launch, 5600 backspin on an average, which I'm okay with. A little bit lower spin than the Mizuno, but that's okay. A couple of mishits in there. You know, that 119 a second ago, bit of a mishit. If we took that out, we're averaging 125 ball speed. With that in, we're averaging 124 ball speed. But I mean, actually, the average numbers there between the 923 that we hit earlier, which did have the Project X in it, and then that with the dynamic gold in it, get a little bit more ball speed from the 923. Because again, I think that just comes back to the strike. I think we were really, we found a groove with that club. You were striking it really nice. So that led into a little bit more ball speed. But the launch and spin, I mean, it's almost like, it's no difference really, is there? You wouldn't see any difference of that like out on course at all, really. 0.3 launch and 100 revs of spin. 3 yards of carry, which is mainly 3 yards of carry, is mainly coming from the lack of ball speed, which comes down to strike. But the performance is very similar. So again, the reality of you being able to play both of those irons is, I mean, you can see the strike there. It's just a lot more central with the 923 from earlier. It just ties into a little bit more efficiency. But everything else, very consistent, mate. Your attack 2329, path 374, face fractionally more open with the 923, which again is a good thing.
Yep.
Dynamic loft exactly the same. So from your perspective at the minute, I mean, we'll jump back actually and probably just hit that 923 combo straight away, I think, in a second to compare how it stacks up.
Yep.
Head-wise, do you think that there's between that and the 923 Tour any preferences so far? No?
I won't say preference-wise, no.
No.
It's just both seem to be doing the job.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
Bit too much.
Yeah, probably the first big sort of turnover we've had with that, to be fair, isn't it? So again, we're not always going to get rid of every bad shot. You know, just, really close to the face on that one, 8 degrees closed. A bit too much, but again, the stripe, really good. It's a bit of a better swing rate.
Yeah. Felt better off the face, just left it out a touch.
Nice neutral flight. Yeah, again, don't hate that at all. And again, nice little draw coming back to centre line. Strike's definitely living a little bit more in that centre, which is great. And again, similar numbers to what we were seeing earlier, 18.5 launch and 5,800 backspin, which is really, really good. How's it feel going back into that straight away from the ping, would you say?
It feels better off the face on this one, but even though I was hitting them quite badly with the ping, they still done okay. So yeah, I don't know at the minute.
It makes you think that potentially the ping's like more forgiving, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I could maybe middle one with the ping, and we could get a fair
Give it a fair shake in a minute. Yeah, it's done really well. Again, it didn't sound like the cleanest of clean either.
No.
Like, it wasn't bad. Yeah. Certainly wasn't bad. Spin still at 55, which is great for that shot and that delivery. We turned it over a fraction, but still 180 carry, decent efficiency. Still retains a good amount of spin. Still fairly central strike. Definitely something about this head that enables you to strike it a bit more central,
yeah.
Which is brilliant.
That was the worst one yet.
It's a bad swing.
Yeah.
Okay. Same, mate. We're never going to be able to take out all of the bad swings.
No,
Everyone's still going to have some bad swings in there.
Yeah.
Cleaner, mate.
It's a lot cleaner.
It's almost like the good ones with this are really good.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, we had a couple of bad swings, but you're going to have a couple. You're going to have a bad swing with any club, right? There's never going to be any miracle clubs, right? Again, strike pattern's definitely more central, which is good. And that spin there came up a little bit. It was a bit clean, bit bottom groove, so we expect that, which is great. But we didn't lose anything. There's 1 yard offline at 185 carry with good efficiency.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Really good. Yeah, I certainly don't mind this combo for you, to be honest, mate. I think what we should do is maybe hit the Blueprint S on that same shaft in a sec, just to see how that stacks up, because both of the heads were seeming to perform very similarly, and I didn't mind either of them for you.
Yep.
So that would be a good little head-to-head. But yeah, I think we're getting pretty close with this now. That sounded lovely, that.
Yeah, that was the better one.
Yeah, really nice, mate. So, I mean, apart from there's that one really bad one in there at 162 carry, but I mean, we're still living in the realm of pretty solid numbers. 126 ball speed, 18 launch, 5,600 backspin, averaging 179 carry, good height, good descent. You know, really don't dislike that setup for you at all, mate. So I think if we pop the Blueprint S head on that shaft, let's have a quick head-to-head with those guys. Looking down here, any preference between the two heads?
Not really, no. I think I might actually prefer this one, weirdly enough.
Okay.
Even though
it's quite a nice looking head, there, isn't it, the Blueprint? A bit toey?
Yeah, I would have thought that would have turned over, but it seems to have stayed straight.
Can't grumble at the result on that one. Yeah, toe, it's done great, hasn't it? 176 carry, 1 yard offline for that super toey strike. I mean, that's really good. Interesting one, mate. I mean, it sounded good, just launched a bit lower. Then if you kind of just got a bit more on top of that one, hit down a bit more on it. Yeah, I mean, just just hit down a touch more, took off a little bit more loft, which, I mean, you've not done that much today, in all fairness. I don't hate it. It brings down the launch, brings down the spin fractionally, but 190 carry, 9 yards offline is not a bad result. And even then, still decent peak height, decent angle of descent. Just a bit of an unusual delivery from you there. But again, results-wise, would take it. Again, how are you feeling hitting that against the Mizuno, looks-wise, feel-wise?
I think I could possibly prefer this, and I don't know why. I think it's just like feel, yeah. It's just...
Yeah, I don't think I've really got a problem with that as a head for you. To be honest, even if we wanted to get a little bit more launch and a little bit more spin out of it, you could just make it 34 degree 7 iron, the same as the JPX, which would just give us that touch more spin. But yeah, even then the numbers aren't bad at all.
Bit thin.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of miss hitting it a little bit more now, I think, just because you're getting a bit tired. But again, I mean, that's a 187 carry down the line, and you caught that really thin. Yeah, like really thin. But again, what a result. I mean, for a miss hit.
I don't think I've hit a good one with it yet, but they've all been okay.
It's always a hard thing in fittings, isn't it? It's like, you want to see bad ones because it's great to see bad ones to see what happens, but you want to see quite a few good ones as well because you feel like you're hitting it well. But I mean, definitely the bad ones on this, the miss hits, the thins, the toes, perform fantastically well. And it's been a very straight iron as well, in all honesty. It's just been maybe not quite as consistent from a strike perspective, but the results have been great still.
Yeah, I think it's sort of going back to now, again, it might be because I'm tired, but I feel like I'm having to do more to try and get a better strike.
Yeah.
I don't know what weight this...
125. I think it's worth trying the Modus 120 again, because I think the 120X could be a good shaft for you.
One in the P770.
We hit it, I don't know, we've hit about 10 combos already. Like we started off with one of that in one of the earlier combos. Again, it's still heavy enough. It's probably still stable enough, but it's not as heavy and as boardy as that. I mean, we really stuck to that because when we went back to the 923, or when we hit the 923, you hit that really well. But definitely, I think the Modus 120X is worth another go. Yeah, for sure.
But I do like this.
Like the head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Again, it didn't sound perfect, but
see, I would say again, if I would have done that with the Titleist, that would have gone left.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's like toe. I mean, the strike, we would want to be seeing that strike be better, like being honest, you know, but the impressive thing is the results for the strikes we've been putting on it. I mean, two just like, well, that one's right next to the pin, that one we just hit there. So 2 right side of green, 2 middle of green. Again, none of them have been particularly amazing strikes, and we're still averaging 183 carry.
Yeah.
And we've been 1 offline, 9 offline, 1 offline, 12 offline. So I probably agree. I feel like when you're swinging well, this is still going to be performing fantastic, right? You're still going to be hitting it well. And on the bad ones, it's been so good and so straight that that's such a big advantage, I think. But yeah, I want to try that in the Modus. Let's do that. But yeah, no, I actually think the Blueprint S's could be good irons for you, to be fair. And I don't hate the idea of the Modus 120X. I think it could be quite a good like transition shaft for you from, you know, where you're used to, obviously very light and soft. The Project X65 is a big jump. Could be the one. Let's see how many times we can top it. Yeah, it's quite ironic how you said you didn't like any ping you've ever tried, and yet here we are.
Here we are.
Sticking in the ping. Sounded pretty good.
Felt great.
Yep. That is a great shot, that, mate. Yeah, it's still a little bit in that toe, to be fair, but it's just done really well, isn't it? Again, really for a slight miss hit, it's just such a good result. 180 carry, 2 yards offline, spin at 54, even for a bit of a high toe strike, that's pretty solid. The peak height and descent, we obviously know that we don't really need to worry about that too much for you because you're always going to hit it quite high. It's going to have plenty of stopping power. The thing that really has stood out with this head for me throughout every time we've hit it is how straight it's been.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's just the most important thing.
100%.
How does that feel instantly going back to the motor shaft for the Project X?
Better. I'd say 100% it feels better.
Yeah. I thought you would probably prefer the feel of that. It's got a bit more feel, isn't it? It feels a bit lighter, just a little bit more feel to it.
I thought I hit that quite well. and obviously you said it come out the toe a bit, but it just felt nice. I think I might be sold.
Yeah, it sounded nice, mate.
Just left it out a touch, but
again, that from a miss perspective, well, I mean, we say that's a miss. That's probably only 7 yards right of where we're actually aiming from a target line. 9 yards right. Didn't fraction toe, but I think we said you have started to progress into a little bit more of a toe strike since you've got tired, which, you know, we got driver to do next. That's going to be entertaining. It's a hard thing, like we mentioned earlier with full bags. Like, you want to do stuff in depth. Like, getting it right is so important.
Yeah.
You want to test a lot and you want to retest. So when my bugbear in fitting, to be honest, is when people just go somewhere and they give you one, they hit 3 good shots and they go, oh, that's it. There you go. You're done. A, the customer is never ever feeling comfortable with leaving that. And being me as a fitter, I want to go, right, I want to try quite a few heads. I want to try their shaft. Actually, that shaft I think would be quite good. Let's go back to that. Actually, you know, this was a bit better. Let's just try that again. You jump back and forward. I think that's the only way to test in depth, to really actually find out what does work best. You cannot hit 3 good shots and go, yeah, that's the one. You can't do it.
But you can hit 3 bad ones and rule it out.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, Sometimes, again, you got, it's so much theory in the game, isn't there? It could just be 3 shit swings.
Yeah.
I think sometimes that's where working with a player that's better does make it a little bit easier because they're maybe a little bit more in tune with their swing and can go, yeah, that was just a crap swing. Wouldn't have mattered what I had in my hand. It would have been a terrible result. So you got to weigh up everything, which is so difficult in fitting. It really is. Yeah, it sounded lovely, mate. That is a fantastic shot. Whoa. Oh, out there.
Might be the cleanest one I've hit, that.
Yeah, I think that was just absolutely buttoned. Yeah, that's probably a bit like one of the best shots you've hit for a long time. Absolutely. That's a perfect strike. Efficiency 136. Swing speed actually upper fraction around 97. 132 ball speed.
Jesus.
But again, we're still getting those decent launch and spin conditions. Spins up at like high fives, 5,700 there. 18.5 launch. Yeah, it's really, really good, mate. So in terms of how that club sort of looks to you, feels to you, the weight of it, how that shaft feels, is the confidence there with it?
I would say so.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I'm obviously very surprised. I would have said the last club I'd probably thought I'd be leaving with would be Ping, but here we are. But like I said at the start, whatever I hit the best. I've got no brand sort of favourite, just
whatever works.
Whatever works, works.
Yeah. Groove low, maybe?
Yeah, touch low, but
still 190 carry. Just still gets out there, that thing, doesn't it? I mean, yeah, it's a bit skinny, but path dropped a touch more inside on that one. Again, 190 down the line. It just always seems to do quite well, doesn't it?
It does.
Again, for a less forgiving iron.
It's doing all right. It's probably more forgiving than mine.
Yeah. It's the thing with forgiveness, man. It's, I think so much of it is just marketing.
Yeah.
Really is.
Just a selling point. And
yeah. Gary, it sounded good. Probably a fraction toe.
Yeah, just what I was going. It felt like, again, it should have gone way more left, but it's staying kind of straight. So
yeah, just a little bit toe, mate. But again, it's similar numbers. 183 carry. I mean, a sort of mid-5 spin. It's just doing really, really well on the bad ones, isn't it? So well. Back into your little graphite beast.
Yeah.
Does that weight feel completely different?
A lot lighter.
A lot lighter.
The base is a lot chunkier.
Yeah.
A lot bigger.
This is where you just rip it to like 2 feet. There we go. I just keep those, mate.
Yeah.
Keep those.
Jeez, I feel like I could really
get
after it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounded ripped.
Probably more forgiving. The pings are more forgiving than the forgiving irons.
But again, that's almost good to see, right? Yeah. So yeah, it was a good strike. I mean, face bit close, spin drops to sub 5,000. That's 4,700 now, with a decent strike. But obviously, you just kind of close the face a fraction. 198 carry with low spin, just jumps and goes miles. I mean, that's the perfect example, really, why you don't want stronger lofted, lower spinning, lighter shafted clubs. That's a perfect example of a long left shot. It's not what we want. ripped that, mate.
Yeah.
Interesting to see numbers on that one. I mean, that's just dead straight. So there was one that we hit with the Blueprint S, which, yeah, I mean, that's a little bit low and in the toe as well. It's done very well, very, very well. 190 carry, 18 launch, 54 backspin. I mean, it's interesting, right? That when you hit that one, not too bad. It's not awful.
Yeah.
Again, it's a little low, which probably added a bit of spin in it. You didn't turn that one over at all. And we spanned that at 5,400 compared to probably the best one with the Blueprint, which was 5,700. 18.3 launch with that, 18.7 launch with the Blueprint. Again, not, I mean, what was the Blueprint McCarry? It was 189, that was 190. Not a dramatic difference, right? But the one thing is, like that first one that we hit, where you turned it over and the spin dropped, the Blueprint didn't really ever seem to do that.
No.
Even when we did turn it over, it was still spinning like 52, 5300 and just doesn't jump as much. The ball speed doesn't jump like yours did. And we don't get that 200-yard carry out of it.
Yeah.
Which is really what we want. We're talking about with a good player, and I've always said this, you can hit a good shot with any club, right?
Yeah.
Of course you can. You make a good swing, it'll be a good shot. Doesn't matter. It's just trying to protect against your misses.
Yeah.
A little bit more spin's going to help that.
Yeah.
A little bit more consistency from a head that's not designed to pop and go miles like that is.
Yeah.
It's going to help you reduce your miss, reduce your bad one, give you a little bit more sort of front to back control, which is exactly what a good player going to need from that iron set.
No, definitely. I mean, the proof's in the pudding. Obviously, I've hit so many with them, the pings, and probably didn't like most of the strikes, but they've still done very, very well. Whereas I love the strike on the first one, but it's gone 20, 30 yards left of the green and long. So it's proof's in the pudding. It's in the numbers, and yeah, I think I'm
ping man.
I think I'm sold on the pings.
Yeah, I think I would go Blueprint S. I would leave the lie standard. Like we sort of spoke about earlier on, go more upright at the moment. I don't feel it's like going to be an advantage. When you're a bit fresher, we're about 4.5 degrees toe down, which isn't, it's not extreme. I think there's a couple of things that we could get you working on that I think would help that instantly anyway. So I'd go standard lie angle, the Modus 120X, standard length, and I would go 5 to a wedge. I wouldn't go 4 iron.
Yeah, that's fine.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
I think stopping at 5 is fine because your 5 iron's still going to be going. I mean, a good 7 iron was 190, right? Yeah. I mean, you're probably playing it at 180 to 185 on course. So 5 iron's probably going to be a 200, 205 club, which is more than enough, really, from an iron perspective. And I just think, again, when you do get those lower spin ones, I mean, we're averaging 55, 5600 with a 7 iron. Spin's just going to be getting a bit lower with 4 iron for me, and it will exaggerate curvature. So I think that we jump up to driver, you get the driver, we've got the 5 ironers, let's say a 200, 205 club, you've got the driver at X, right? What do we need to now work our way back down to gap, correctly into that? Yeah.
No, sounds good.
Good. Feeling like you got enough energy to do driver?
Yeah. We'll give it a go. I might need 10 minutes.
Good man.